live from the rear end. It's Sunday night.
Perfect.
Would you like me to do it again? We could do a whole thing over again. No? That was good enough? No retakes, because
awesome.
it's live. It's live, so I can't retake. Anyway, we're live. And on cue, there's my other friend. Perfect. What's up, everybody? Hello. How are you? So if you didn't figure it out, we're live from the rear end. If you don't know what the rear end, please let me enlighten you, because it's always worth retelling. But the rear end is the back of the building that I work in. It encompasses 3 offices, a kitchen, and another bathroom. We are the rear end. We have a lot of fun. We also have an Instagram called the rear end at 210. Please follow us. So the wellness room is part of that, and that's my space. There's Kristen. So I've been treating since 9 in the morning, and it is now 9 at night, and here I am. Just for you, so feel special. And please tell me that you feel special so I feel good doing it. There you go. That makes me everything better. I saw that, Kristen. She's giving me a Sunday night FU finger. I saw it. Hey, Mary. Hi. So I have so many things going on in this office right now. I have a wonderful candle being burnt, a pumpkin candle that smells like caramel, by the way. My super hit incense, which Bill can't tolerate, but I love when it's lit, not when it's not lit, so it's kind of annoying me right now, but that's okay. Anyway, lots of scents going on and a lot of stuff going on as well, which I'm going to ignore because, thank goodness, I have a beautiful background over here instead to focus on. So happy Sunday, everybody. We have made it through yet another week. Time is fleeting, flying by. And let's just make it slow down for an hour, right? Let's make it slow down. So we had Thanksgiving last week, and last week I didn't even post homework because it just got too crazy, and I figured that's okay. That is okay. So you tell me.
We weren't going to do it anyway?
Yeah, because I kind of had a feeling, you know what? They're not going to do it anyway. Why am I doing this? Come on now. At least we spoke about it. But one day you'll be like, you know, Ness, that homework was really useful. I'm sorry I didn't do it all the time. Ha ha ha. So last week we were talking about what you were going to let go of in order to have a more fabulous holiday season. And I found myself practicing a lot of that stop and think about, like during the week as things were creeping up, like, okay, we're going to make this type of food. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And then we changed locations of where my family was going to have it. And it kind of just kept challenging me. So I thought it was interesting because I was able to keep things together for at least a couple of days holiday-wise. So that was good. With the food stuff, it was also interesting because my mom did a bit of this letting go without even me telling her about it. She normally cooks everything from scratch. And suddenly she just out of the blue goes, you know what? I'm not going to make the pies. I'm just going to buy them. And I was like, what? That was shocking. So I was like, well, I'll make one pie. And she's like, oh, you don't have to, but okay. I'm like, wow, what's going on? Like, is it a sign we're just letting go of everything? I don't know. But it seemed to alleviate a lot in her too. So I was pretty proud of her for that. Yeah. And the cranberry sauce was made. So it was made. Even though I would have still ate it out of the can, to be honest, because I just like it. And that's what's up. So what about everybody else? Did you practice your letting go of certain things? Be truthful.
Apparently I let go of going to my mother's altogether.
Oh, right. We were discussing that, and then your mom unfortunately fell ill, and then you couldn't go there.
So not only that, I didn't get the homemade cranberry sauce, which was going to be the only thing. I did get the canned, however, which is just as good.
Which we were okay with, right?
Yeah, and I ended up with a completely different meal than I was anticipating.
But you loved it anyway, so thank goodness for that.
It was amazing. I don't care.
Right.
Even if the green bean casserole was made of bugles.
Yes, and I fully support bugles in anything, so I won't
lie. It was.
I've had bugles in forever.
Yeah, there's a reason for that. It's made from corn and salt.
Without the French's fried onions and substitute the bugles, not a bad alternative.
There you go.
Pretty good.
I can picture it.
It was pretty good.
I can picture it.
I still remember what they taste like.
That's great.
It was better than I thought it was going to be.
That's so funny. So just taking stock of what you're letting go continuously. So that includes now, obviously, Christmas shopping. Thinking of, maybe you're used to doing all the store shopping and now you have to do more virtual. Or you just maybe not getting as many gifts this year, which is okay too. And that just depends on whatever reason it is. And even if it is monetary, like I was, obviously, we're having issues just between not working half the year or more than half the year and all this other stuff. I find it really, really difficult to not buy for the people that I'm typically buying for. So I've gotten a little bit more creative with certain things, and that's all good, right? And the gifts don't have to be extravagant. I would like them to be thoughtful. So I'm trying to go back to how I used to do gifts, is more thoughtful stuff, which it was like more creative and thinking of stuff that they might like just because it's from me. So things are changing, right? And what's up? Renee's got a blankie on her head. Just thought you should all know that. It's very cute. It's very, very cute. Yeah, and I had this great thing to talk about, and let me tell you, after that many hours of treating, it's gone. Woo! All gone. So we'll be on the fly again. That's fine. With Thanksgiving, last week we discussed the attitude of gratitude and how you can't force something like that. Did you find at all during the week that when you weren't trying to be grateful, you were able to just be there? Renee, you want to answer? You look like you're thinking about it.
Well, I mean, happiness, and so I was really grateful for my health, without even trying.
Can I share?
Yeah.
So, two of Renee's neighbors, she had already known about one, but the husband had passed due to COVID, and then shortly afterwards, she just found out that the wife passed as well. So, grateful about health would be a pretty amazing thing. And it's really unfortunate when something like that happens to bring that about, where you really feel.
Time of the year, too, because you're healthy.
Yeah. Renee lost her father around this time, so all that stuff adds up, and it starts to remind you of, thank goodness you have your mom, right? And thank goodness you guys are doing the best to keep healthy and all that. So that attitude of gratitude, such a big thing and such a pressure to be in that space. And I know when I'm trying to force it, when I'm like trying to minimize what I'm going through to get there, that's basically what I've noticed, that I'm actually minimizing everything instead of just saying, you know what, even though I don't have it as bad as so-and-so, this is painful for me, or this is really uncomfortable for me, and acknowledging that instead of saying, hey, it's not as bad as so-and-so, look, I could have lost both my parents at this time, and da-da-da, and it doesn't serve, it doesn't really help anybody. Have you ever felt better after minimizing yourself or your situation? No, it's a fight, it doesn't feel good, so don't even bother. Don't waste your energy. Unfortunately, or fortunately, whatever you want to say, but those things, putting things in perspective, that ends up happening universally on its own, where you'll suddenly feel like, oh, you know what, I can deal because of this. But don't force that to happen. Don't force yourself to feel like, you're just being silly or whatever. Parents do this all the time with the kids. We talk about somebody falls and you say you're fine, but it ends up happening a lot with emotions, a lot. And if you have a child who has anxiety or deals with just any other difficulties, anything a child would typically go through, like, sharing something, particularly, something they want, and the other kid wants it, whatever it is, and you'll tend to see a lot of these lack of coping mechanisms, or you might be lucky enough to see it, that we even carry as adults. So the one kid that has the, less impulse or whatever will try to grab for it, and the other kid who, maybe isn't sure what to do, kind of like retreats or whatever, or you'll see like a head-to-head type thing. We have this in adulthood all the time. There's this push and pull that happens, and if you notice, one way that you are. It's a good time to take to see how you are, like in conflict. What do? Do you come to bat? Do you go head on and like really ram each other? Or do you take, a retreat and kind of run away? Or are you able to actually stay there and go, whoa, take a breath with me. I hear that you're really upset right now. Let's slow down, like give me a few minutes. If you're able to get to that middle ground, it's because you've done a lot of work, a lot of work. And it's a continuous amount of work. Kristen, I know you were dealing with stuff, what I'm saying, from work, whatever. These situations come up all the time, and you'll notice that in each one, you've changed your tactics a little bit. Your coping skills are maybe not as good one day as they are the next. And now during holiday time, during the time where maybe you're grieving or maybe you're just super stressed and there's so much going on normally, and then we have COVID and all that stuff, all these things make a big part of how you're able to cope and how you're able to show up in a conversation or a conflict or anything like that. So this is where that graciousness starts to come in. And this is where we need to take a lot more pauses and a lot more purpose of intent, saying, you know what? I really want to have this conversation right this second, and you need to know yourself. Like, I need a couple minutes. I need an hour. I need this. And just say, let me go do this, and then I'll come back and be with you. But if you don't know yourself, if you're not sitting with yourself on a regular basis, then it makes everything a lot harder. And what I mean by knowing yourself is we talk a lot about the soul and the soul's path, meaning you're feeling not just yourself, but like all the energies that have ever come to bring you together to be the person that you are and reside in this body. That's the biggest part of your soul. And if you're on your soul path, it's quite different from like this everyday challenge thing that we have to deal with. But if you know yourself in human form, as weird as that sounds, and how you react to things, everything changes, and you're able to change things a lot faster. So, sorry to use you again, Kristen, but as you were showing up with a challenge that you maybe weren't expecting in work or whatever, I'm going to speak how I observed it, and then you can let me know if it's accurate. So it looked like it was more of a kind of ramming thing happening, and then you did address it. You did your best to address it. You thought it was fixed. It still wasn't. He was coming back with a ramming thing happening. And then finally you're at this place where you're like, you know what? I see what's happening. I'm not going to take it personal, and I'm going to just give some space to everything. And that's kind of how I observed it. But I feel like maybe in the past years, it might have taken a lot longer to take it not so personally. It might have taken a little bit more time to kind of figure out where he was coming from.
No, I've never had anyone come at me the way that he did.
So it was different.
He backed me into a corner until I had to come out fighting.
Okay. So that's interesting too.
The third time I just sat there and I stood in the corner basically and I said, "Are you done?" And then there was some hanging up going on, but it was the equivalent of, "Are you done yet?"
So it was a different type of diffusing that you had to practice, but either way.
What happens with me is if you back me into a corner and I come out screaming,
the
conversation's over. And if you do it too many times, I shut down completely. Mm-hmm. And he was doing that every single day for 10 days. Yeah. 10 days. So on the 11th day, I came in and I said, if we get to a point of screaming and yelling, I'm just going to hang the phone up.
Yeah.
And I won't be taking your call. So figure out a way to communicate with me that doesn't force me into a screaming place.
Okay, so thank you for letting me know this is a new case for you, like a new type of boundary, and it's really good. So think about that. It only took you less than 2 weeks to figure out. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm not a screamer. I've just never worked with someone who forced me in that place that often.
All right, but it's a really good one to have under your belt. I think, no, that sounds silly, but it's really good to have under your belt because when this shows up again, you're going to recognize it much quicker, and it will take even less than 10 days. So, yes, I know, but think about that. So these are the lessons that we deal with all the time, right? But how many people do you know date the same type of person that doesn't work for them? It goes to the same family member that they know is going to injure them relentlessly, and they don't create any better boundaries. They just kind of stay in that same place. So, when you're faced with a difficulty like that, it is, you know, a weird gift, but it's a gift nonetheless. And so here we are at holiday time, and we're giving these physical present gifts, right? And the, you know, universe and God is also giving us the same type of thing, where it doesn't look like what we think it should look like. And I think that's what's really interesting right now, and really worthy of a pause, where we can go, you know what, I'm not quite sure I'm getting the message right this second. I know there's something behind this. I know there's something that's going to help me in the future, and what am I going to do with it? I don't like when people say, you know, kind of minimize it in the moment. I think it's for the person to be able to reflect on later on and say, you know what, I see what happened with that. I don't want to go through it again. I do see what happened with that. I'm going to take X, Y, and Z from it. But be sure that when you're a friend or a partner or whatever support system, and you're talking to somebody who is going through something, because everybody is, right, that you don't do the same thing that we're talking about, that you don't minimize them, that you don't minimize, like, don't worry, you know, oh, it's going to get better, oh, it's fine, it's going to be like this, whatever. I mean, everybody does it at some point, and you shouldn't feel ashamed about doing it. Just be aware of it, like, oh, I'm sorry, you know, maybe I was minimizing that for you, I didn't mean to do that, I just didn't want you to feel like that. Or, you know, we don't want people to feel bad usually, right? We don't want them to feel like junk. So it's in our human nature to try to smooth things over for them. But just take that pause and see what they need in that moment, because this is going to be a big, even bigger than it's been, time now where the holidays are so different. You know, try to be a little bit more mindful about that stuff. So I'm going to be posting, I have a friend that was, hopefully she's at the end of a big part of her journey, but I know she still has more to go. At a very young age, she had breast cancer last year, and she started posting a series of pictures with words from people of what they said during that time. And it's eye-opening, I'll call it. I could call it a few other names, but we'll say eye-opening. And I'm going to post a few of those. I don't want to have my whole feed with them because it is really like gut-wrenching for me. But I'll probably make a few photo grids. And it just, you know, I had said a few of those, not to her, but I've said them along the way. And every time one came up that I've said or I do say, I explained to her why. And she still held her ground and said, no, that's still not okay with me. And I think it's worthy of that type of conversation, because you don't have to be going through, you know, breast cancer or another illness to have things said or for you to say that are, you know, just a little thoughtless or just kind of fly out of the mouth, or we just say it out of, you know, a try to comfort, a way of getting there. But, you know, we've all, I'm sure at some point, stuck our foot in our mouth really badly, and some of these are not as obviously bad as that. So I thought it was kind of, you know, thought-provoking and things like that. So I'm going to post that. But what kind of gift can we give this holiday season that isn't wrapped, right? What can we do? Charities are different right now. You know, it's not necessarily like easy to volunteer at places, but I want you to think this week of just a couple ideas, you know, and they could be super simple. We've talked about like reaching out as one of the gifts, but really describes to me what it looks like. And I think it's I don't know, it's the perfect time to have that conversation. Carrie, you do this stuff all the time for a living, and I know you're listening all the time, and that's a big gift, and you're giving your time, and that's a big gift. But what else is a gift? What else can we do? It sounds like childhood questions, but think outside of the box if you can. I'm gonna give one. So if it's your birthday and you're a friend of mine, and I haven't lost my mind and I don't forget, you will get a a happy birthday song from me on the phone or voice whatever message, and it contains a couple curse words in there or whatever, but it sounds...
I save all of mine.
Yes, and everybody saves one, so that's one of my gifts. If I don't get you a physical gift and I give you one of those, I think that's better than a physical gift because it will make you laugh and you'll probably save yours. So that's one of my examples. Kristen,
Over
and over again every year.
I think you've skipped a few for me.
I did not skip for you. I've probably done it in person for you.
Maybe.
I have done it live on a mic for you at Katie's, okay?
Oh.
Yes, I have. Next to a pole, I may add, but that's a whole nother thing.
That's another story.
It's a whole nother story. We don't have to go there tonight.
My goodness, that has some implications.
It has some implications. It's true. It's true. And I'm not going to deny any of them. It was fun.
Oh, here's the year before.
Are you going to press play on something? Because I don't care.
I could.
Oh, do it. Do it. Let it fly.
Not defending the ground. All right, if you insist.
I don't care. Hopefully you can hear it, and hopefully it sounds okay. Watch, but Facebook will block me because it's a copyrighted song. Go ahead.
Well, even when you put an word.
Yeah, change it. It's my original, man.
Whoops, that's not you. I clicked on the wrong message. Hold on.
It's all good. While she's doing
excited.
that, Renee, I think you should give some art pieces out. Although that's like, it's still physical. But it's so nice. Come on, you could do it. Give some art pieces out.
I'm just realizing, Tom, keep your voice down,
Uh-oh.
Put your voice down. Anyway, I'm lying down.
Can you hear this?
So be nice and grab it. Happy birthday to
They can't hear that.
Happy motherfucking birthday. Happy birthday.
Oh my god. Alright, so what you can't hear is it's half Marilyn Monroe style, then a little heavy metal hardcore, and then it finishes this all nice. So, anyway, happy birthday, whoever needs to hear that. Kristen, I love it. Perfect. Alright. I can't see what time it is, but I'm gonna guess it's around 9:30, and it's around time for us to relax into the week. Oh, one more thing about the energy of this week. I don't know if you noticed, but last week, kind of starting from the week before that, anxiety building up. I see it in my kids. My poor little 6-year-old is having a hard time. It's a full moon tonight. There's probably a bunch of other astrological things that I'm not sure what's going on, but just be aware. Take out your toolbox, your toolbox of everything to do to ground yourself, and also to give space to it. So if you have your rose quartzes and everything like that, charge them up and relax. Any other stone, there's plenty of stones that help, but just don't be afraid to talk about it. I invite you to talk about it if you need an ear or a voice to speak with. That would be I. And don't feel alone, because you're not. You're just not. In fact, most of us watching tonight probably deal with anxiety. And that's okay. We just don't want to live there. So lie down. Are you cursing me out again? Calm down. My gosh.
No, I was saying who, me?
Who, me? Everyone on Zoom is like, yeah.
What are you talking about?
Who, us? We don't get anxious. No. Okay. So chillax, lay back, close your lights. Close your lights, shut your lights. I don't know, it never makes sense the way we say it. Nainers, I'll mute you. Did I do it? Okay. And here we are. Close your eyes, my friends. Find the soft place on whatever you're lying down on. Find the soft place in your body. Allow the curvature of the neck to feel completely supported. If it doesn't feel like that, adjust accordingly. Allow your shoulders to relax down and back. I want you to take your fingertips and feel the break in the ribs. So follow the line from the center to the curvature out. And feel how the belly grows bigger with breath. right beneath the break in the ribs. Now it softens after you exhale. Tonight we're going to embrace how quickly paced everything feels or can feel. We're going to allow things to swirl around us. So now, as soon as I say this, you might begin to feel that swirliness. And usually we're focusing on stopping it. Right now we're going to fully embrace it. And if it's going too fast, it's going to be going probably clockwise. And if you visualized it, it would kind of look like the aurora borealis, but like way sped up, and it's swirling all around you. And maybe there's a few energy balls around in it as well. Good. So we're allowing every energy to just move around us. And then you're going to allow the circle to get bigger. So this almost cyclonic thing happening, getting wider and wider. So even though the speed has not changed, the feeling of the speed will change during this. Good. And allow that to get larger and larger. So now it's way vast. And again, the speed just feels different. Take note if you feel any wind surrounding this. See if your body is still on your cushion, or if you're completely enclosed in this circle. So instead of looking for an anchor to stay in one place, I'm going to allow you to fully fly into this vortex of energy. And as you allow the body to lose that grounding and really get completely involved in the movement, notice if you're still holding on to your human form, or if you've absolutely willingly allowed just the energy to go flying, if you're part of it. Now, whichever form you're in, I want you to take control over it, and I want you to fly through the center of this vortex. So you're going to fly fully in one direction. You're not even going against the vortex, you're just going straight through it. Now see what it feels like to fully be entrenched in it and just let yourself go. Go fast. As fast as you can go, straight through. Are there things flashing by you? Or are you going in the direction that it's just going with you? Have things start to shift that you're going together in one thing? Notice when you're in this place, if there's any sound that you can hear other than my voice. Do you see anything other than colors? Can you feel anything in the form that you're in, whether it's body or energy? Can you feel things going through you, flying with you? Do you feel your heart racing more or less? Is your breathing different? Have you just become completely formless? Now I want you to purposely become part of the vortex where you are actually swirling on the outside. Again, same form, human or energy, doesn't matter. Just actually go completely with it. So you're not going through it this time, you're circling. And if you need to speed up to come to where the vortex is swirling, and do so. And then over the next couple of breaths, you're going to make the vortex even wider. You're part of it now, and I want you to control how large it is, what it encompasses. And see, as you're going to be on the outside, I want you to see if there's anything on the inside that you can visualize. Very, very slowly, you're going to become larger. And your energy field is going to expand so far that you're actually outside of the vortex. Notice any temperature changes here. You might even feel your human form expanding during this part. Good. Now your energy field is so large that you're actually just looking down at the vortex. You can see this little tiny swirly thing as if it's nothing. And you're going to hold it in your palm. Then you're going to take the other hand and you're going to have it between the two palms. and you get to manipulate it. So here you are, this giant energy form, and you can manipulate this big vortex between your palms. So as you bring them closer together, you'll feel a bigger squish, like there's a resistance, and as you release them farther apart, you'll feel some pull like taffy. So again, going back to this feeling in your hand, and you're going to take your non-dominant hand and you're going to hold it right in front of your face. So even if you're this giant energy giant, or if you actually have no form at the moment, you're just going to imagine that you can control it, and you're going to blow all this vortex energy directly to the areas that you feel need it. So if you have no thought of where that might be or who that might be, you can command the energy to go where it's necessary, and you're going to allow it to go. And almost as soon as you feel like you've let go of it, you're going to feel some come right back to you, because that's how healing works. And your energy just grows bigger and bigger and bigger, and notice any colors that you've become, any specks of particles and dust that you've become. And then over the next few breaths, you're going to allow yourself to basically dematerialize completely, and the whole energy field that you've become is now going to just be one with the rest of the universe, the rest of this big, big place that you've taken energy from and become, and now you're going to unbecome all of it. You're just going to let everything fly. So releasing the focus energy and allowing it to go where it needs to go. But there's always one thing intact, right? Your soul is always intact. So your soul comes back. It's going to come meet your human form. And it'll feel like you're standing almost like on a black platform in the middle of dark sky. This is the area known as the fertile void. It's an area right before big changes. It looks how one might think the galaxy looks, but it's a feeling of vastness, just huge empty space. And you'll notice that in this space there is literally nothing else but space. It's a feeling of just vast. There's no resistance from objects, there's no anything. And emotions are very I don't know if it's peaceful, but it's just is. It's a feeling of just is. So you've had that time to go with the flow, go against the flow, go through the flow, and then you've had that time of actually becoming larger than it, controlling it, moving it, manipulating it, and completely disjoining it. And now as you return back to the body, you stay in stillness. And here's that test of how long can you stay in that feeling of stillness, feeling of complete darkness. So in this place of vastness, there is almost no texture, but if you were to have a word for it, it would almost be like smooth, like there's just smoothness around. Everything is open, and because there's no resistance, there's just smooth. So if we think of the fertile void as an area of open, vast, smooth, things won't be so scary, because you'll know that that place right before you leap into a change has endless possibility, and there actually are no emotions about it. It's just very, like I said before, it just is. There's a part in your energy field that has already accepted, has already asked for, has manifested all these changes to help you. And the human form is not always aware of what the soul does or wants or agrees to. So it brings us to these places of difficulty, hardship, and all these things that we maybe weren't expecting. But your soul knows exactly what that path is. And if you can get to this area where there's actually this fertile void, there is really no fear there. It's also not even really happy. It's just a place of just is, like I said before. So it's an interesting place, and maybe you felt it before, and now I'm giving some words to it, and maybe you're not aware of it at all, but one day you might. So maybe you'll remember this meditation. So as you're standing there, or floating, whichever's happened for you, you'll now bring the breath back into your feelings. So even if you're still in that blackness, you can feel an expansion that will occur here. And the expansion occurring here will be more intense, bigger, deeper, wider than a normal breath, because you'll have included your energy field. Even though you've disjointed from the major energy field, you're coming back into your own. So that expansion is not lost. Now, if you've ever heard, the sound of Om, the sound of creation, it's a certain vibration frequency that so supposedly, is the sound for creation. That's like the sound, the field of vibration that happens for creation. And in this black space, that's what happens. Om is there. So that expansive energy field happens with Om too. So this is like right before that feeling of Om starts to kind of create. This is that place. And if there were any sounds in this place that I've experienced, it could be described as a low buzz. It's really intense when you get there. It's a place I have really enjoyed being, not like in a happy sense, but more of in a very definitive, knowing place that greatness, big changes, things are happening, and assuredness. So it's definitely a place that when I get there, I kind of like to hold on to, because it's very visual, very different from this world. So now you're fully going to arrive back into your body, wherever you've been laying all cushioned and cuddled. And you might start to see some colors kind of joining you back, threading back into your body, into your form. And I think one of the best parts about leaving your body, kind of astral projecting, so to speak, is that when you come back into your human form, it's much more powerful. You've gathered and accrued energies. You've really had that expansion happen, even if you didn't necessarily intend it to happen. It does happen. And then when you come back to the human form, your body is very, very grateful for kind of the rejuvenating and the break that you've given it. So maybe you'll take note of that too right now. And whatever happens or has happened for you for tonight's meditation, if it hasn't been relaxing, that doesn't mean that it will never be. Come try it again another day. And this specific meditation was really to show you how time and energy are completely linked and very relative to how it's experienced. So when the vortex is tiny and tight, everything is very, very fast. But when you expand it, it's the same speed, but it feels way different. So we can control these things, myself included. I tend to get lost in that loop, forgetting how to or why to. But the experience of time, that's what it is. It's an experience. So we can actually slow it down. We can change it. We can warp things. And maybe you've got a taste of that tonight. I hope you did. So Zoomers, you can come back on. Unless you're not done gathering all your energies. That's cool too. You take those big, big breaths coming back. See if you still have that warmth in the body. If your body has completely cooled down, or if you're still feeling all the energy coming to you. I don't want you to forget either that when I do these meditations that because I'm a Reiki master teacher, when I do the meditation, I'm channeling. And so whenever we're finished with one, you might still get the residuals of a healing session. So if you're experiencing any of that, that happens too. Hi. Okay. So, Carrie, were you able to experience, I don't know, tell me about your experience, because I'm not going to do a separate community chat tonight, so if you're still with us, listen in. You don't have to talk. It's okay.
No, I will. I'm gathering my words.
Okay.
I had one of those, like, what the fuck is this experience, in a good way.
That usually happens when I haven't planned anything, right? We get these really crazy experiences.
Yeah. The beginning was, like, very intense. Again, not in a negative way, but just, like, the fastness of it.
Yeah.
To the point where, like, I noticed I had to put my arm, like, over my third eye. It was so funny.
Yeah. I may have done that on purpose.
I was like, wow.
Yeah.
But it was really cool.
Cool.
And it went so fast. I was like, wow, that was 20 minutes?
Yeah.
What?
Yep. Renee's. You there?
Yeah, I was getting hot.
Yeah. I was wondering if anybody experienced almost like a burning, fiery type thing. Yeah, all three of us. Yeah. So, you know, in my women's circle, when we've talked about time travel and stuff like that before, you know, we've been presented with energies that have told us, like, that it goes in, like, how do we describe it? Like, the tree trunk type formation where it's like a straight shoot. I can't describe it without Candace here for some reason. I'm losing my words, but what I realized that with time, because it's so subjective, it's really an experience, which is kind of crazy. It's kind of a crazy concept. That when you embrace it and you go with that flow, it is a quite different experience. Yeah, so that's kind of what tonight was about. But I also wondered, did you see yourselves in energy form primarily, or were you still in like human form?
I was in energy.
Energy. When you got larger, did you get like fully crazy giant large, or how big were you?
It was big. I don't think it was crazy big though.
Yeah. So then when I said to hold,
crazy big.
so then when I said to hold it in your hand, even though you were energy formed, you had like a spot for it to go. Did you know what to do with it?
Yes.
Yeah. So I think that's interesting too, that when you expand from human form, and still as I'm saying this stuff, I'm like, if I had heard myself saying this a few years ago, I'd be like, that person's crazy. When you expand out of the human form, what's fascinating to me is that you still know where to hold things. You know? Like, it's kind of
weird.
Isn't that weird? Like, that's weird, but it is a funny thing. You knew exactly what to do with it. You didn't have to question where that would go. And then when I said to direct the energy, were you able to just kind of like, oh, I'm not going to think about it, it just goes here. Okay. Renee, what was your experience like?
Well, I think I fell asleep in halfway through of it, but I felt like floating at one point. Not sure what part of it.
You've been in the fertile void with me in circle.
Huh?
Say that again?
There was a point when heat was bothering me, though. It was getting too hot.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
I had to take my blanket off.
Yeah. She was cold before, and then she's...
Take my blanket off.
That's great. Did
I
you...
didn't bother one because I knew that was going to happen.
That's really funny. Renee, you've been in the fertile void with me in circle, like where we've been holding it. Did you ever get to see the fertile void before?
I don't think...
No. Did you see any of it tonight?
I'm trying to remember what it looked like to you guys.
It's just pure darkness. Maybe you were sleeping. It's just pure darkness, but the difference between that and space is that you know it's not space. Like, I don't know how to describe it. It's just very, very like blank canvasy feeling. It's super crazy. But every time I experience, it's like, I know that's exactly what it is.
Usually I have like shoots of random colors. Like I did see a lot of green.
Oh, that's good.
Right.
Well, that's good.
I had green and purple. So.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, and that's good for your heart and all that stuff, so that's good. All right. Just curious. Is there anything else you guys would like to talk about before we say goodnight? As they all yawn. It's funny, Carrie.
No,
Carrie, I always like to stay there.
I was like, this is so cool and nice.
Yeah, as I was saying during the meditation, every time I experience the fertile void, I'm like, I want to stay here. It's really cool, but it's not like I said, it's not like a happy. It just is. It's even keeled. It's very wild feeling, but yeah, it's a nice place to be. There's no pain.
I fell asleep at the end.
Yeah,
I'm super
yeah.
tired now.
Well, okay, so don't forget that's the other thing too. Like, even though I'm giving, sometimes I don't give you any terms at the beginning, right? But at the end, I might tell you like, oh, by the way, you were astral projecting. It is tiring. It's tiring because, especially if you're not used to it, and then you go to do something like that's extensive. Whether or not you believe that, if you're watching or not, that what I was just describing was happening, if you experienced it, you understand it really was happening for you. And those energies that left your human form, they do really come back in massive form. So like you regain everything plus some because you've allowed yourself to be joined and disjoined and all these things, and there's been a shift. So as Kristen's rubbing her third eye,
It's got like a nagging ache there right now.
yeah,
Yes, that's why I had to cover it.
yeah. Well, it's expanded right now too. So tonight is the good time to drink a lot of more water. If you didn't take a bath yet, take your bath, but actually make the bath on the cooler side.
You were going to say alcohol, weren't you?
No. Don't have any alcohol. That will not do you good. And also to actually cover your third eye tonight, you can use a small, eye pillow or whatever, but no alcohol, believe me, you'll regret that. But a cooler bath would actually help a lot. Okay, so it will help discharge anything excess. And that's all we have for tonight. Thank you for watching the craziness of Vanessa M. Meyer. Also, please shop locally. Revamp Man Moxie Cream, which I'll be telling you all about too. Those two of my friends, my husband and a friend, whatever. All good. And that's it for tonight. Okay. We're not going to go be live anymore, so long. If you have any questions, comments, whatever, or you want to put your hand in the face like Renee's doing, reach out, okay? We're not alone. All in it.
Yeah.
Ciao.